What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you guys are having a wonderful Monday. So, y'all, I'm getting caught up in my content. Thank you so much for rocking with your girl. So, listen, one thing that I've noticed is that Dr. G and Dr. Heavenly, I feel like they are two sides of the same coin. They were both the agitators and the instigators of this trip. And they were both condescending to Sweet Tea, both Heavenly and Dr. G, and they didn't want to answer any questions when they were asked. um I feel like they both have like some deep rooted insecurities, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's get into this episode. So right off the rip, right, King is coming to his queen quad's rescue, right? Shout out to King. I feel like his heart was in the right place. He didn't have to answer it with violence. I'm glad that Phaedra's date was there to kind of prevent any kind of harm to Dr. G. If Dr. G wasn't such a um unlikable individual, I would almost feel bad for him, right? Because in the earlier episodes, and I might actually have to work my way backwards in my content with the recaps, just because I'm trying to get caught up on everything. But I did see where he was, he fell over, the paddle boards, and he was saying he was just trying to instigate, things with Quad. I do feel like he's not over her. I do feel like he's definitely jealous of the fact that Quad is with King and she's moved on. I do not feel like he respects his new wife, Sweet Tea, at all, and it's unfortunate. But him trying to, like do the 25 push-ups on the stand, and each time saying Letitia, like he definitely has something to prove. Um, and it would be sad if he was more likable, right? If he was genuinely a better person, but he's not. So I feel like he is kind of reaping what he's sown a little bit. Um, but anyway, so King, all he did was ask him to apologize to Quad. Now, granted, Dr. G has gotten up in King's face. He is, dogged out Quad, dogged out his wife, did all these things, but yet he still perpetuates and thinks that he's the victim. And, you know, it's interesting because him and Dr. Heavenly, they have such similarities. I can see it plain as day. Their patterns of behavior, um, feelings of inadequacy, insecurities, they are so deep rooted, and they project, and they antagonize, and they condescend so often to people. It's ridiculous. Um, yeah. I'm hoping that, Mimi clocks it because she's a psychiatrist on the show. She might not say it, but I feel like she's peeping game. But it's ridiculous. Just the mere question from Sweet Tea, caused Dr. Heavenly to fall backwards into the ocean and, yell and scream and blah blah blah. Same with Dr. G, right? One of my friends, he's a psychologist, and he said that a lot of people who get the doctorate credentials, he says that they have like a god complex almost, right? Like you can't ask them any questions. They have like this, you know, um, feelings that you should be deferential at all times, and it's like get somewhere, go play in traffic somewhere. But that's how I feel like Dr. G and Dr. Heavenly, they both project those deep rooted insecurities, and they are definitely, in my opinion, two sides of the same coin. And yeah, if Phaedra's date wasn't there to block, you know, King from getting on Dr. G, he would have rocked him. And we know that, and he does too. So moving on. So Simone used her wisdom and discretion and called two votes. Very smart. So they, go back on land. The guys go to a cigar bar, which is cool. Let me back up a bit. Even before the guys go to the cigar bar, Phaedra meets with Jackie, and she says that she's disappointed in Jackie, which is Interesting, right? Because Heavenly is the one who called Apollo there to be messy. So instead of confronting Heavenly, Phaedra chooses to project that anger on Jackie, who really had, in my opinion, had nothing to do with, her ex being there. But she ends up, Phaedra getting a private jet and, is leaving. She's on her way to Real Housewives of Atlanta. So she says that they're a bunch of mean girls, which, in my opinion, Toya, she agrees with Phaedra's assessment of the group, right? And so does Heavenly, actually. I feel like they're a bunch of, instead of mean girls, I feel like they're a bunch of like hurt women, like hurt and broken women, because as Black women, we go through so much trauma in this country, especially trying to get, graduate degrees and, doctorate level degrees. Um, I don't have mine yet, but I'm in the process. I'm like praying because this administration and, them dismantling the Department of Education, listen, God's still on the throne, but, man, when I got my master's degree, Obama was still in office. So your girl's no spring chicken, but it was by the grace of God. But listen, no, it was in my 20s. But listen, like um, that was amazing. That was a time where a lot of, if there was like racial animosity and things like that, it was hidden, it was covert, it was because Obama was in office. But now I feel like the tables have turned. They're dismantling so many, not only, diversity programs, but they're suspending, things with HBCUs. They're, firing all these different, anchors in television, you know, um, these four-star generals because of the color of their skin, essentially. Joy Reid, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, but my faith is still in the Lord. I still have to do what I need to do. But I said all that to say that um, it is an amazing experience, but it's one that's riddled with difficulties. So I can only imagine what they went through, during their time. But now that we have an administration that is so um, against Black people excelling, so many more barriers in place. It's going to be, in my opinion, like 10 times harder than what they went through. But yeah, I feel like they're not mean girls. Essentially, they are women who are hurt, like hurt little girls. When I look at Dr. Heavenly and I see and I hear all of the, negative things, like she's in the hot seat right now in social media because she was spewing out, homophobic things. I feel like it comes from a place of um, a toxic place, but one that's from a broken heart, not excusing what she's saying at all. She reminds me a lot of like my aunties and just a lot of the women that I grew up in my neighborhood, just older women that I've seen that have just been mistreated and abused by society at large. So, and academia is it's it's problematic. I'll say that. So, yeah, but Phaedra got in her private jet and she left. So at the cigar bar, Dr. Damon says that he agrees with King and sticking up, for Quad. He would have done the same thing for Dr. Heavenly. I feel like he needs to tell Dr. Heavenly to curtail her mouth a lot. I feel like her mouth gets her in trouble 99.9% of the time. What we would love to see from Dr. Heavenly is learning more about her business acumen, her dental practice, how does she perform dentistry, things like that, right? Like her level of expertise, because she's always quick to throw, her credentials around, but yet she doesn't carry herself with the professionalism that she wants people to respect her for. Like she is always quick to throw low blows and just go just go for the jugular all the time, and people get sick of that. So I feel like Dr. Damon should probably call his wife to the side, off camera, in the bedroom or whatever, pillow talk, and tell her, chill out. I mean, I feel like she would listen to him if he was really serious about it. She respects him enough that I feel like she would, curtail it, because her I might make a separate video about what Heavenly said, because her boss is a gay man, and her disparaging gay men on her YouTube channel, and now it's going viral. It's not a good look for her, for them, for the company, for Bravo, for Married to Medicine as a whole. It's not smart. You know what I mean? Like she's always, telling everybody how smart she is, and it's like she does things that proves the opposite every day, twice on the weekend. So talk to your wife. So speaking of people talking to their wife, so um Tisha's talking to Dr. G about the whole situation. They're sitting down sipping, um he is again condescending. I don't like the way he talks to her. She said that, nothing would happen. She would have his back. And he's like, well, what are you going to do? You're just a woman, blah, blah, blah. I don't like the way he talks to her. I don't like the way he treats her. I feel like everything Quad said about what went on behind the scenes is absolutely 100% correct. I did like the fact that, Simone and Cecil got everybody together in yellow. That's the international color for friendship. And they went around and was, discussing their feelings with the lemon bowl. And I'm glad that they brought Mimi and her husband, Steve, he's a former NFL player. She's a psychiatrist. I like their dynamic together, and I like their dynamic with the group, because Mimi brought the bowl, the lemons, and gave them the opportunity to speak without being interrupted. I feel like they bring a sense of calmness and normalcy to the group that wasn't there before. I like them. I like them and their dynamic for the group. But it goes back to the last scene is with Dr. G and Tisha at their house. And once again, he is just completely being dismissive of her thoughts, her feelings, her comments. He goes upstairs, and she follows him, and he's, basically blaming her for everything, saying it's her fault. She's like, it's not my fault. And, he's giving her all these indirect shots and, veiled threats. Um, Dr. G, in my opinion, is someone, like I said, who has a whole lot of unhealed trauma, similarly to Dr. Heavenly. But some people would say as a psychiatrist, one would think that he would know better. I feel like he uses that as even more of an abusive tactic to manipulate her. He did one thing's for sure. Neither one of them, Dr. Heavenly or Dr. G, they don't respect Tisha at all. Um, Heavenly was saying she was dumb, blah, blah, blah. Dr. G talks to her like she's dumb, or like he thinks that she's dumb, which I don't think that she is. I feel like she's very down to earth. She's grounded. Like she said, she's military trained. Um, I feel like she needs to stop chasing him. She needs to stop giving him the respect that he does not give her, and to open her eyes, because he is someone who is just has a nasty, dark spirit, and he doesn't respect her at all. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this episode? What do you think about, Dr. G and Dr. Heavenly, their dynamic? I'd love to hear from you. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.